All right, so we're going to look at systems of linear inequalities, and in this set of problems, we are going to have to manipulate our equations in order to solve for y, so we can put it in y-intercept form. So we are going to be looking for where it says y greater than or y less than or equal to. So let's go ahead and start moving some things around. I'm going to get rid of that positive 3x with a negative 3x. Okay, once we do that, we'll get 0. We get 2y is greater than or equal to negative 2 minus 3x. And then we will divide by 2. Now, we do not need to flip the inequality because we are not dividing by a negative. However, remember that if we divide by a negative, you will have to flip the inequality. Okay, so negative 2, let me go through that. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. And negative 3x over 2 is negative 3 over 2. It's easiest if I leave things as a fraction rather than switch them out to a decimal. Okay, so now I'm going to come over to the second problem here. And the second inequality, I'm going to move those. So I'm going to move that x over as a minus x. Okay, those will cancel. We'll get 2y is less than or equal to 2 minus x. And then we will divide by 2. Now, once again, we do not flip the inequality because we are dividing by a positive value. And as a result, that inequality stays as it is. We just do the math. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And negative x over 2 is the same thing as negative 1x over 2. And we're going to use that just for our slope. Now, let's go ahead and graph these lines. And the way we graph these lines is we are always going to start with our y-intercept. So let's go ahead and graph this first one that is in red right here. And that has a slope of negative 3 over 2. So we are going to, negative 3 over 2, we are going to go down 3. We're going to go right 2. And then we have a y-intercept of negative 1. And what you'll notice is it is not y equals mx plus b, it's in reverse. But you still have to remember that the number attached to x, the coefficient attached to x, is your slope, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and post my y-intercept on there, negative 1. And from there, I am going to just go down 3 and right 2. So 1, 2, 3 over 2, 1, 2, 3 over 2. And I'm just going to keep the pattern going backwards as well. Over 2 and up 3, and just over 2 and up 3, and just follow that pattern out. Now, once we get here, we are going to have to ask ourselves the question, is it going to be a solid or a dashed line? So I'm going to look at the inequality. And the inequality says that it will be solid, and it will be solid because it has an equals to in there. So let's go ahead and graph that solid line through there. Okay. I always write the equation that I'm dealing with, y greater than or equal to negative 1 minus 3 over 2x. Okay. And then we are going to go ahead and determine, do we shade above or below? And one of the things we have to remember is that if it's y greater than or equal to, if the y's are greater, we are above. So determining if we are above, all I have to do then is pick point. So notice if I pick a point here, it is above the line. If I pick a point here, it is above the line, and that's what we are looking for. So I'm going to shade everything that is above that line, okay? The next part is I'm going to go ahead and graph the other one, the other equation. And let's go ahead, come over here. I'm going to say, okay, well, the y-intercept is where I'm going to start. Okay, so there is the y-intercept. And the slope is going to be negative 1 over 2. And that says down 1 and right 2. So I'm going to go to the y-intercept of 1, put a data point, and then I'm going to follow the slope of negative 1 right 2. So let's go and do that. So down 1, let me go ahead and change my color real quick. and go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, and I just keep the pattern going, okay? And if I follow that pattern out, you'll see that everything falls into a line. And then I'm going to say, is it a solid or a dashed? And we go back to what we were talking about just a little while ago. There is an equal sign, so it is solid, okay, because of the equal sign that is under there. So I'm just going to go ahead and sketch a solid line right through there. And I always label my line, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. Y is less than or equal to 1 minus 1x over 2. There's my equation. Okay, and now I just need to determine where do I graph. Now check this one out. Here's the tricky part. Okay, this one says y is less than. Y is less than or equal to is what it is saying. Okay, and you can see that right there. Y is less than or equal to. And what that means is that we are going to be graphing below because it is less than. So if we pick some points, we want to pick points that are below that line. Okay, so let's look for points that are below that line. Well, check this out. This point is below the blue line. This point is below the blue line. This point is below the blue line. So what we're going to do is we're going to shade everything that is below the blue line. Now, the region we are looking for is the region in which there is an overlap. Okay, and what you'll notice is this blue section of line overlaps the yellow right there. This orange section of line, because it's solid, also, if it was dashed, it would not, but since it's solid, it also overlaps the areas, okay? And we are looking for the space that is in between. And so you can see that the space in between here in pink and here in yellow, right there, those are where our solutions are going to line up. So let's write that in here. These are our solutions.